Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday Leading Change. This week, the episodes are with Ademar Perez. Hi Ademar, welcome back.
Hey Vasco, thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. So Ademar, let's dive into a very important topic for us as Scrum Master, that is change management, as I like to call it, change leadership, because we are expected to take the lead in many of the aspects related to change. So tell us a story of a change process you were involved with and, walk us through that story, but then highlight also the tips, the tricks, the tools and the techniques you learned back then that you still apply today.
Yeah, absolutely, Vasco. I want to share a story of about 2 years ago when I worked at a startup. And this startup was in a very greenfield technology space where they were building risk management solutions for institutions that are looking to trade in the cryptocurrency space. When I came into this organization, the CTO wanted a senior Scrum Master to work with him hand in hand to build agile teams at his organization. So I got this very unique experience to work closely with the CTO to create an agile environment across his whole organization. And it started off with, he wanted me to help assist in standing up 3 different teams. So the technique that he was using was hiring full stack developers and product managers to build really high level, really technical solutions in the cryptocurrency space. And so I got the opportunity to work with 3 teams, and I got the opportunity to help them shape the agile way of working, meaning helping them understand how to create short feedback loops first and foremost, and how to use ceremonies like sprint reviews to connect with key stakeholders that are part of the fold. And while I was very used to helping engineering teams develop an agile way of working, I was approached in the organization by the sales and marketing team and also the client services team. And they were very interested in how the engineers were working. A lot of those folks were very new to Agile, and they expressed interest in, hey, Ademar, this Agile thing that's going on over there, is there a way for us to do that as well? And it was fantastic to just be asked that, Vasco. If I can talk about some tools and techniques that I leveraged to drive a sales and marketing team and a client services team to adopt the agile way of working. My best tool that I still use today is to show those that are going on a journey what good looks like. Working with those 3 engineering teams who were working cross-functionally to build features and integrate features, being able to showcase their ability to collaborate, to take in feedback and incorporate it in the next sprint cycle, and keeping that close relationship with the CTO and the stakeholders in the organization was something that was sort of desired by the sales and marketing team and client teams. And so showing them what that environment looks like made it a little bit easier for me to facilitate the adoption of Agile.
Yeah, absolutely. That you described it as showing others what good looks like. I think that's a very good way to describe it. Kind of a tool to inspire the people that are on a journey, as you said, and also to show, I would say, okay, so it's what good looks like, but also what it means to work in a different way. Because very often So I'm sure you've got that many times in your career where you explain an idea, a concept, and people go like, yeah, that's great, but in our environment, that wouldn't work because, right? And I very often think about this as just a lack of imagination, right? So you give an example, and then because the example isn't exactly in my domain, then I can't see how that would work in my domain. And that is a very common situation, right? I mean, some people would call it the not invented here syndrome. I would say that it's a very natural expectation when conveying concepts and ideas from a different domain. So I'm rather curious, like, how did you start handling those yes but comments? Because I'm sure that some of them came up in your conversations with the sales team, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Vasco. The yes buts were everywhere. And another technique I would use is I would invite them to a stand up and say, "Hey, team, come over to the stand up and see what's going on there. Hey, come over to a sprint review and come and see what the team is working on and what they're asking for feedback on." And so I invited them into the room and further try to foster a culture of collaboration and transparency so that the agile and the marketing and client services team can really see what it looks like to work in a cross-functional way and work daily together. It was something that was very far-fetched. For instance, for the marketing team, they were meeting bi-weekly to do status updates, and then they were meeting weekly with their managers to take care of other related marketing things. And just seeing the engineering teams work daily and breaking down work, um, they decided, hey, why don't we try this? There was a bit of resistance from their managers, and the direct reports, the marketing analyst, and also the salesperson was able to convince their manager that, hey, let's try this for 2 weeks and let's see how it goes. And it was beautiful to see, Vasco, because I didn't have to sell it to the manager. His direct reports sold it to him. And that came from them seeing what good looks like and seeing what that collaborative environment is like. And they desired it after seeing it and being welcomed into the room.
That this reminds me of something I read a long time ago in the book Lean Change Management by Jason Little, and one of the things that he says from based on his experience, and he tells a story about that, is that change resistance is not a problem; it's a resource, and if you can make the other side of the change attractive to the people on this side of the change, they will want to go there, right? But if the other side of the change is not appealing, that they're not interested in it, you can pull them, you can push them, you can do whatever you want, but they won't move, they won't budge because they don't see how important and interesting that other side might be. And I think that's also one of those aspects of what you called showing what good looks like. It's also not only what good looks like, but also what appealing and inspiring looks like, right? Because that's what drives them to take action, right? Because at the end of the day, change management is all about helping people take action. But I do want to pick up on one thing that you mentioned. You said, I didn't have to sell this to the higher ups. They themselves, the team members themselves, went and sold that to their managers, right? That's something you said. And that triggers that thought in my mind that it is about showing, i.e., presenting information in a certain way, like you said, showing what good looks like, but then allowing the team to pick up on what they want to try rather than what we would choose for them. The question is, what do they want to try? Because if we let them try, then they will be the ones selling it forward, right? Like in talking to the management and removing whatever obstacles there are in order to get what they want, which at the end of the day is, what you show them, what good looks like, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Vasco. And another tool in there that I used to facilitate that change was mini retrospectives with the audience that was observing. So the marketing folks and the client services team representatives were while they were looking at what good looks like, I would follow up and meet with them afterwards and say, hey, what did you think about that? Was that, I really try to gauge their feedback and see what was intriguing to them, what was catching their attention. And just those small facilitation sessions where I got to get some feedback on what was kind of piquing their interest was super helpful along the way as well.
Absolutely. The retrospectives at that point serve not only as a reflection and learning point, but also as an amplification, right? Like something sticks much better if you talk about it and you try to think, how would this apply to me? What kind of experiment could I run the next 2 weeks? Mm-hmm. And so on. Great point. And definitely great tip. Thank you for sharing that, Ademar.
Absolutely, Vasco.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role, we'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.